all my life, I knew that there was something wrong about, for me anyway. For a lot of people, there's nothing wrong with it. For me, I never understood why someone would want to spend their whole life working for somebody else. I watched my mom, work at a poultry plant, growing up. And I remember how brutal that job was. To destroyed her hands. It was all working with sort of frozen poultry, and it absolutely demolished her hands. Now she has metal rods that fuse her finger. So she has no joints in a couple of her fingers. It's just a metal rod. I saw how brutal it was, and there was a time where she was forced to work the night shift. She didn't have an option. And my mom didn't speak any English. She, was an immigrant from Mexico. And so she didn't have a ton of options, and we were from a small town. She was a single parent. My dad wasn't there anymore. And she was distraught. I remember her distraught. How is she going to leave her children at night, all night long? Can you imagine? I can't imagine. I have two small kids, and I can't imagine. But through that period, she fought and fought and fought to get off of the night shift. It took her a long time, and she finally was able to sort of get off the night shift. But that was a very formative experience for me. I remember how terrified I was as a kid. We lived in along a very deadly highway in Northern California, so it gets very foggy. So a lot of people died. There's actually, how they have a war memorials where you have this wall with names on it, all the people that died. This highway was so deadly. Highway 99, as you go through the San Joaquin Valley, crosses a town called Livingston, and it was such a deadly highway because as you're driving down, you imagine driving down any highway, and you're going down 60, 70 miles an hour. On this particular stretch, in this particular town, there was a stoplight. As you're going down, driving at highway speeds, all of a sudden, there's a stoplight. And in the foggy season, you couldn't see it. And there was a lot of semi-trucks, diesel trucks that use that highway. And in the really, really bad foggy days, people died because they'd come to this signal light, and you're just not in a thick fog. You're just not able to see it in time to stop. And for years, people died in the foggy season there. And so much so that there was a wall on that intersection with all the names of the people who have died there. It was finally fixed, and they made an overpass. But the time that my mom was working and, with no other option, forced to work on the overnight shift, as a little boy, in my mind, I'm thinking that any night my mom is going to die trying to get to work or trying to come home. And I remember just not being able to sleep. I would just be in anguish, and I would just, I would stay up, and I remember waking up at, whatever it was, 3, 4 in the morning, and just in panic, and just, my hands on the window, waiting for my mom, waiting to see the headlights come down. It was awful, really awful. But it was a very formative experience. And I could never wrap around my mind why anyone would want to do that, want to surrender their lives to a person or a company in that way, where you're completely stripped of your individuality, stripped of choice, and stripped of just the freedom to do what's right for you and what's right for your family. So very formative experience. So all my life, I've been looking for ways to not be an employee. And it took me a long time because I didn't have anyone to sort of teach me. It took me a long time. My mom is my hero. As an immigrant who spoke very little English, who was 95% deaf, a single parent of 4 boys, she did whatever it took in order to provide for us. She didn't have very many options at all. So for those of us, though, that do have more options, why wouldn't we want to do something more? Watching my mom's struggle and watching the power that a job can have over you, or the power that a company can have over your life, has led me to look for something more, something better all my life. I've been searching for something that could maximize my quality of life while maximizing the freedom that I had, and maximizing the amount of time that I had to spend with the people that I love, doing the things that I love, being in the places that I love. When I found trading, when I found the stock market, I thought, this is it. This is it. Like, this is the thing that I've been looking for all my life.